Sanbonan bagwethu. Yeah, man. It's Abba Ayalewo Amlak once again. Usilo samanzi uzinyo lengwenya. Boya bengwe. Usuke ezantsi emalwandle. Heruseke Mankamun, Grandmaster of Abakhalipi Bokhanya. Today, we are back on the couch, but I'm alone today. We've decided ukuthi every couple of episodes, we are going to have this sit down with me, where I'm going to tackle some of the questions that have been posed over the episodes, so that we don't leave anything, we don't leave any stone unturned, and you don't feel like your questions are not being paid attention to. So today's the first of those episodes. It's the first of Lentong Kulumangai. So today we're going to tackle a couple of questions, and then we're going to talk about them a little bit. I'm going to try and answer to the best of my ability. And again, I want to make this disclaimer. I am not the sole authority of any knowledge in the world. I do not claim to be the South African Bureau of Standards on African tradition. I do not claim to know everything. But from what I know, I will share. From what I have learned, I will deliver. Again, I've said this before. Please, I'm begging. Do not believe me. Go and do your own research. Come back and challenge me. It's fine. Opinions are opinions. Like this is an unpopular opinion. You may have a popular opinion, or you may have an abstract opinion, or you may have an alternative opinion. We all are allowed to express our opinions. This is me expressing my unpopular opinion. Let's get into it. First question. So, if a married man shouldn't touch the grave, but young men who are not married, are you saying it is better for future generations to die instead of married men? This question, Mangkumbula Gahle, it comes from a conversation we had where we spoke about the phenomena of the funeral ceremony. So, to answer your question, I'm going to talk about the funeral. What is the funeral according to traditional African ritual ceremony? When a person dies, kuthiwa umoya uhlukene nenyama. The spirit has separated from the body. Because in Africa, we have this belief yoguti a person is a 9 composite being. And those 9 composites, or those 9 selves of the one person, are joined together by the spirit. What are these 9 persons? It's the physical body. Now, the physical body goes with anything that has to do with the physical body, which is your shadow and your name. So, umzimba wako, unesithunzi, unegama, umzimba, physical body. These are the 3 physical aspects of yourself. And of these 3 physical aspects of yourself, only one of them is physical, your body. Your name is not physical, but it is the name of that which is physical. Your shadow, isithunzi sakho, is not physical, but it is the shadow of that which is physical. With the absence of that which is physical, there is no shadow. All these three have to do with the physicality of the human being. Right. So when you die, the body, physical body dies. The shadow dies. The name remains. Listen to me carefully. The body dies, the shadow dies, but the name remains in memory. Right? The next trinity of the human body is the soul trinity. Ilento sithi ke umphefumlo. Your breath. Umphefumlo wako has to do now with your soul ngesilungu. It has to do nenhliziyo yakho, your heart. And it has to do with your strength, amandla wako, your power. So you have your body, your name, and your shadow. And then you have your soul, your strength, your power, and it's umphefumlo wako, namandla wako, and ubuwena bako. This is the three divisions of your soul. Now we go to the three divisions of the spirit, the trinity of trinities, where now you get ingqondo yakho, your mind. Ingqondo, the word ingqondo has to do with the word ukuqonda, understanding. Your mind, that which you use to understand that which is presented to you. Ingqondo, your mind. It has also your spirit, umoya. But then it also has that which now is beyond you, that which is spirit, that which is unnameable, unseeable, untouchable. Now, these 9 components of the human being, at death, what happens? The physicality of this being is the one that dies. The body, the shadow, and the name, because nobody is going to be calling your name anymore. But in memory, you will be alive. We jump over to the other trinity of the human being now, the second trinity, which is your soul, your power, and your essence. That can't die. Collectively, that is called itongo, because this is that which comes in our dreams. When we dream about our grandfathers, our parents, we are dreaming about the soul aspect of their being. That can't die. The spirit aspect of their being is that which we call idlozi. Because now that is in the creative level of divinity of God. Because spirit now belongs to no man. Spirit is a universal phenomena. Now, at a funeral, angithi manje we described what happens at death. A person with 9 bodies, when they die, only the first triplicity of their trinity of trinities dies. So 3 bodies die, 6 remain. Now these 6 bodies that remain are the reason why we have funerary rituals. The first funerary ritual is to let the deceased know they are no longer part of this triplicity that is physical. So an elder in the family, a male figure in the family, or a female figure in the family has to come and speak to the deceased and let them know that they are no longer part of this physical world, because there are 6 bodies that are still active. 3 are dead, 6 are still alive. The majority of who you are is still alive after death. And ngicela ningizwe kahle, the majority of who you are is still alive after death. The mind is still alive. The soul is still alive. The brain is still alive. Your essence is still alive. Your power is still alive. That essence of you, that being that is alive, needs communication. Somebody must talk to that person and let them know you are no longer part of this triplicity of the physical realm. You must now start to look towards the spiritual world. Sithi ke manje kubo kumele ke manje uphenduke ubheke ngasethongweni. That's the first aspect of the ritual. The next aspect of the ritual is the embalmment of the body. Now, embalmment of the body, what is known from the ancient Egyptians, the Kemetians, the mummification. This happened as a tradition everywhere in Africa, where the body has to be cleansed, agezwe, akholwe, meaning anointed with fragrant oils. Inyanga ke hopefully ziyazi ke there are certain imithi esisebenzisayo ke in that ritual. Umuntu ke the corpse is bathed and prepared for funeral, for burial. Now after that, a cow is selected. The purpose of this cow is to alert the ancestors on the other side. Uguti so and so has left this realm of the physical world. He is on his way to where you are on the other side. Inkomo ke lena ke le yokumkhapha ke le yokumngcwaba. Because the skin of that cow is going to be his covering. So Africans, we did not have box caskets and box coffin. We used cow skin to wrap the person around. Now the cow skin has been replaced with a blanket. Many of you may ask why in our funerals, in our families, there is a blanket on top of the coffin or the casket. That blanket symbolically is supposed to substitute or replace the cow skin that was supposed to cover the deceased. Because many people have had their people come back in their dreams and saying, yes, yakoto, now we are cold, because they were not covered properly. And in many cases, this happens because kuthengwe inyama ebhusha yokungcwaba. Umuntu omdala uyahlatshelwa. Even nengane ihlatshelwa imbuzi yona ngoba kufuneka lesasikhumba sokumgqokisa ingubo yakhe. Angafiki ngale angqunu. That person must not arrive at the other side naked. That blanket is necessary. Now, once that cow is slaughtered and the meat is being prepared and the funeral is being organized, before dawn, ngomsobomvu, the corpse must go down in the ground. Kuyangcwatshwa. The funeral happens. So that as the sun rises, we are cleansing ourselves, releasing the deceased spirit. As the sun rises, his spirit rises as well. Right? Now, after that, a goat must be slaughtered. That goat is to cleanse the death of the home and to release that spirit. The goat is going to make a sound, that bleating sound, mbah. That sound is necessary to release that spirit now from our presence in this physical realm. Once that is done now, that goat, kuthathwa inyongo, the gall, kuthathwa umswane, the digested cud, and the immediate family washes in a bath with water, with those two things, to release themselves from the stigma or the cloud of death. Today, we don't see that happening. Today, we see after the funeral, people dressed in black, bathi bayazila. And after 10 days, kugezwa amaharavu and all of that. Akusona isintu leso bakwethu. Iharavu, ifosholo, is a haraf. It's Afrikaans. Ifosholo is a shovel. It's English. These are not tools that we used. Abafana, coming to the question now, why young men and not married men? Abafana, who are newly initiated into manhood, they have the responsibility of going and digging the grave. Ngamakhuba, imihlakulo. They dig that. And then bayishiya imihlakulo at the graveyard. When the funeral is done, they use the very same imihlakulo, amakhuba. In English, what they call them hoes. Yeah, I think they call them hoes. Yeah. H-O-E. Is it? Yeah, it's a hoe. They use the same tools to cover the ground, and then the family gives them a goat. That goat is slaughtered by those boys outside the kraal. And then they wash amakhuba wabo and themselves before they come back into society. Akusenziwa ke lokho manje. So now, the question is it better for future generations to inherit this death instead of married men? No. The young men are cleansed of that stigma of death with a goat as well. So they do not carry the stigma of death. Why married men do not do that? Because married men, nasebuthweni, in the warrior tradition, warriors started at a certain age, yokubuthwa, ukweluka, the rites of passage, coming into manhood. And you were commissioned as a warrior up until uba ngumninimzi. umnumzana. Now, abanumzana have a different regiment ebuthweni, but abasekho ebuthweni because now banemizi. They are respected differently because now they cannot be carrying the stigma of death back to their homes. This is why in war times, it was the younger warriors who attacked first. The older warriors who were married and they were the leaders of these younger warriors. And they were the strategists. And they were the ones who came to negotiate instead of fighting. Ukufa bakwethu akuhlangani nempilo. Death is on this side, life is on this side. Those who studied Egypt will be aware that the land of the living was on the eastern side of the Nile River, and the land of the dead was on the western side of the Nile River. And these two sides never mixed. Now, why do young men do the job? Because they are yet to produce life. They have not yet come to the age or come to the stage of being life producers. They are still young men. Bayathunywa. Now, kunesisho esithi, do not shoot the messenger, right? So he who is given the message does not carry the guilt. Does it make sense? I hope it does. Next question. Regarding the first people in the world, who said, you said, or I said, the first person is a woman. Then who created the woman? And how did the first man enter the world? Who created that man? Okay. This is the egg and the chicken question. Philosophers for thousands of years have been trying to answer this. And I'm not going to try and answer the egg and the chicken question. What I'm going to tell you is this. Before you were in this world, your mother existed. Your mother gave birth to you. Your mother created you. So to ask who created your mother, your grandmother created your mother. Who created her? Her mother created her. It's going to be a long line of females up until the first female who parthenogenetically, again, parthenogenetically created the first human being from her womb. It's a scientific research you can go and do. Next question. Who is Kamata? This question is easy. Kamata is the god of the Xhosas. I can pass on to the next one. But Kamata is a couple of words put together in one. Ka is isiqalo, the beginning. Ma is mama or ma, mother. Ta is tata or father. Isiqalo sika mama no tata, the source of both my mother and my father. Now, if you listen to the order of the wording, there is the beginning, there is mother, and then father comes along at the end. So the source gave birth to the mother, who then created the father. Isiqalo sika mama no tata. This is basically how the Xhosas coded genetic science into one word and passed it down to us as the highest principle. Not God to be worshipped, as a principle of our existence. That before me, there was my father and my mother. Ultimate respect and honor. The next question. How did the Egyptians obtain land in Africa? It's something I still feel we have to look into. Okay. Egypt is in Africa, first of all. Therefore, Egyptians are African. Secondly, the word Egypt comes from the Greek Aegyptos, which was coined by a Greek man describing Egypt. Or by some scholars, I'd like to quote one of my favorite teachers, Dr. Matole Mtsekga, where he breaks down the word Aegyptos to Aegyptos coming from the original word Hekapta, which means the land of the spirit of Ptah. Now, Ptah is the African god of architecture, the creator god. Now, Hekapta, Hekapta means the land of Ptah. So Egypt would be the Greek rendition of, the English rendition of the Greek Aegyptos, which is the Greek rendition of the Egyptian Hekapta. And Hekapta is in Africa, therefore Egyptians are African, and that's how they obtain land, because it's their home. Let me move on to the next question. I thoroughly appreciate the lesson. This is from the mothership. Yeah, Uba for Uti, the mothership, Kamalak. Greetings to you, mothership. I'm in my mothership today. I'm in my mother's house. But yeah, it's a topic for another day. Colonization is thoroughly dissected here. But my question is, why do you take on the spirituality of Rastafari? Okay. Is there a deeper meaning to your reasoning to accept this Bible-based religion and reject the Bible? Also, what is your indigenous spiritual tradition? These are just questions of the mind, but I see the true spirit emanating from both of you. Again, asante sana. Asante sana to you, mothership. Two questions here. Why do I take on the spirituality of Rastafari? I've said, I will say, and I will continue to say, I was once upon 100 years ago Rasta. I am not Rasta. I don't identify as a Rasta. I do not live my life as a... Let me put one thing straight. Maybe it's the dreadlocks or the turban or whatever that makes me appear as Rasta. Webagwetu, I'm a farmer. And being a farmer, I've got cows, I've got sheep, I've got goats, I've got chickens, and I will not allow anybody to eat my cows before I eat my own cow first. So I eat meat. I'm not vegetarian. I love my meat. I slaughter and I eat the whole cow. I slaughter and I finish the goat. My fridge has meat packs. Bagwe to bry pack, vorsi when in sausage. I'm not Rasta. So please, 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 please. And this is for even people who are asking themselves at home, I'm not Rasta. Don't ask yourself, what kind of Rasta am I? I'm not. Number two, yes, Rastafari is Bible-based, and I reject the Bible as doctrine. Second mistake, I never said I rejected the Bible. I remember quite clearly saying, I do not believe in the religion of the Bible. I am not Christian, but I love the Bible more than any other book in the world. It's one of my favorite story books, like Cinderella, Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio, Ubanlo. Yeah, all these story and fairy tales. It's a beautiful book. It has beautiful lessons. And I will show you. Love thy neighbor as yourself. If you do not agree with that teaching, you have something wrong with you. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. If you have a problem with that lesson, you have a problem. Honor your father and mother. I mean, these are beautiful teachings. These are beautiful lessons. If you see a girl that you like and you want to make your wife, go to her parents and ask for her. Umlobole. Ungathi umfazi wakho ngoba wena ke sone right yokumvalela kini. No. Akulotsholwe, azihlawulwe ingane. These are the teachings of the Bible. And if these are not good teachings, then I don't know, you have a problem. Yes, there are certain passages in the Bible, like slaves, obey your masters, as the church obeys Christ, like verses that were used to promote slavery, verses that were used to promote apartheid, verses that were used to promote. But now, how many other verses are used to feed people doom? To feed people rats by our own people now. Now, these are not white colonists. These are not white colonizers. These are not white bishops and priests. It's our own people who are using the Bible to say, bring money to us. It's the same black pastors, black bishops, black people on black people using the Bible to suck us dry. So, how you use the tool is the problem. The tool is not the problem. Screwdriver. Hey man, kunabantu bebaloli screwdriver bastati imoto zabantu nge-screwdriver. But the screwdriver was meant as a useful tool. Computers, phones, laptops are supposed to help us with our lives, right? Communication, information, whatever. But people, abo babizani, abo Twitter swindler, Twitter swindler. Yeah, Tinder swindler. People are using these things for the wrong reasons. Lonely people, weba kwetu, I want to be lonely. I'm so lonely. Utinda usiza labo bantu labo. Nangomunye ke yena uyabahwebesha. So it's not the tool that's the problem. It's the one who is using the tool. The intentions of the one who is using the tool that becomes a problem. The Bible is a tool. It's a book. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, I was with my son. Nitiguye, boy, you must start reading the Bible now. Uta, Abba, I must start reading the Bible. How? What do you mean, how? You must read the Bible. It's a book. You must read it. Uti, about Jesus and about God, and I must believe that. No, boy. Understand what I'm saying. I'm saying you must start reading the Bible. I didn't say believe in the Bible. Two different things. Abba. So you say I must read it to know it. That's my boy. There's nothing wrong with knowing. I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran. I've read the Bhagavad Gita. I've read the Buddhist sutras. I've read the Epic of Gilgamesh. I've read the the Book of the Dead, Egyptian Book of the Dead, not one, but I've read 11 of them. I've read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I've read the Ethiopian Book of the Dead, the Lifefe Tzedek, the Bentlet of Righteousness. I've read. Now, me reading all these books is me gaining knowledge. It's not me modifying my faith or my belief or my spirituality. The question was asked, then what is my indigenous spirituality? I do not have an indigenous spirituality. I am me. Did you see that dramatic pause? I am me. Listen, being myself is not needing a label to define me. Understand? Being myself does not need a label to define me. I do not practice African spirituality. I do not believe in African spirituality. It does not exist in my mind, in my world. I do not believe in Western spirituality. I do not believe in Eastern spirituality. I do not believe in Southern spirituality, nor Northern spirituality. I believe that we are all spiritual beings. All spiritual beings. Therefore, being myself is me expressing my spirituality like I'm breathing right now, like I'm talking right now. When I get hungry and if I feel like frying a steak, this is exactly what I'm going to do and eat it. My spirituality is not bound by religion. My spirituality is not bound by doctrine. My spirituality is not bound by any certain group. Then why are you a grandmaster of an order? If you have no structures to your spirituality, Abba Kalipibo Kanya is an order, yes. I'm the grandmaster, yes. We have rules, yes. And one of the first rules is know thyself. Again, dramatic pause. Know thyself. Hey, namhlanje ngise Hollywood. Lalela ke ngukutshela. Being yourself does not need external definition to validate it. Be yourself. And in yourself, trust me, all of us, within ourselves, within our true self, there is good. Githi sonke. In ourselves, there is good. Now that good does not belong to any religion. Do not steal. Do not kill. Do not commit adultery. Do not covet your neighbor's property. Do not covet your neighbor's wife or husband. Deep inside you, there is that principle of good. So what is my spirituality? Myself. Moving on. I thank you for this knowledge. A lot of us are confused when it comes to Ugutwasa. Can you maybe explain why initiates have to be initiated into Sipiri Church before they can go home? I don't remember speaking about Sipiri Church on any podcast, on any of the episodes, but since the question is being posed, ngiyathwasisa ngugobela, nginamatwasa. Oh, how do you say that in English? Ngiyatwasisa. I initiate. Ngiyugobela. I am an initiator. Nginamatwasa. I have initiates. Nakoge. Yeah, I initiate. I'm an initiator. I have initiates. Ngiyatwasisa ngiyugobela ngiyatwasisa. None of my initiates have undergone Sipiri Church under my supervision. Before ngithwasisa ngiba ugobela ngiba namathwasa, ngithwasile. Before I initiated and I was an initiator and I have initiates, I was initiated. And where I was initiated, that process was suggested. And the other initiates that I was with underwent that. I accompanied them, but I did not go in to the rituals and whatever was happening inside. So I really can't tell you what happens there. Why I did not go in is because I was initiated a couple of times. And in my being initiated a couple of times, I have acquired or gathered or put together a certain magical system that is personal to me. Now, I will not speak about Sipiri Church, the Kereke Israeli. I will not speak about it because I was never initiated into it by choice. And this was my reason not to be initiated. I've said this before, I will say this again. I'm a magician, I'm a wizard, I'm a warlock, I'm a spellcaster. And therefore, I have my own Sipiri. It's not a church. It's a secret society, though. It's called Abba Bokanya, where I'm the grand wizard and the grand magician. We are a magical institution. Therefore, I will not talk about other magical institutions. Why my initiates have to go through the magic system of Abba Bokanya? Here's the reason. M-A-G-I-C-K. Magic comes from the word M-A-G-U-S, magus, which comes from the word M-A-G-I, magi, which comes from wise one, the keeper of wisdom. So magic, according to our interpretation of the word, not the colloquial interpretation of the word, according to the origins, the etymology of the word, magic is knowledge, wisdom, understanding. And this is what we deal with. And my initiates are expected to be efficient in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Hence why they will have to go through our secret initiations into knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And like I said, the first principle of that initiation process is know thyself. And you shall know the universe and all gods. Let's move on to the next question. What's your advice on tombstones? Okay. Tombstones, my advice on tombstones is that when you are going to deliver a tombstone, you must make sure that the head of your opponent is not close to the knees, is just above, because you may break their neck like Undertaker. Right. Tombstones. My advice on tombstones is tombstones are meant as a memorial. Tombstones are meant as a remembrance. Tombstones are meant as a grave marker. If you go back, way back in the Egyptian times, old Axumite times in Ethiopia, the times of Meroe and all on, there used to be obelisks. Now, these obelisks, when somebody passed on, an obelisk was erected, and the life story and the achievements of this individual were inscripted on those obelisks. So it's a reminder. So what is my advice on tombstones? Please, make tombstones for your beloved so that your great-great-great-great-grandchildren will never forget where they come from. Yeah. Tombstones have always been an African thing. It's not a Christian thing. It's not a colonist thing. It's not a European thing. Everywhere in the world, a reminder was placed. To a certain extent, abanye bebaze benze a pile of stones. This is why unokuthola emakhaya a pile of stones on top of a grave or next to the grave. Labo bebangekho on the day of the funeral would come and pick up a stone and speak to the deceased and then put the stone on the pile. And then eventually the pile will grow. So my advice on tombstones is, please, if you have the strength to remember your umuntu wako, try and write their life story on the tombstone. Because now, rest in peace, we are loved, dearly beloved, your name, your birth date, and yes, it's a summarizing of that, but in actuality, your whole life story used to be written on the tombstone. Hence, you have your grave paintings in Egypt, Hence, you have your funerary texts. You have your Egyptian Book of the Dead, because it's telling the life story of the person. So a tombstone is a very beautiful thing to remember your people. Next question. How do I begin this journey in learning who I am as an indigenous woman who looks just like you? Oh, wow. Shooting Musheg, I look like an indigenous woman. I want to seek my ancestors for guidance and want to approach them in the correct way. I meditate and know I have an inner being. How do I commune with my ancestors? Beautiful question, Tom. Ntombi uthe wena ufana nam. So I'm gathering that umuhleke standwa sam ngoba nami mangizibheke esipilini hawu ngiyamomothiseka. Ntombi, beautiful question you asked. I'm happy that you realize that you have an inner being. And the question you are asking is, how do you commune with your ancestors? My answer to you would be this. Speak to the wind. And then, after you speak to the wind, expect nobody to answer you. And when you receive no answer, know that your ancestors are communicating with you. It's very strange. Speak to the wind. And when you speak to the wind, expect no answer. And when you receive no answer, know that your ancestors have responded. Because your ancestors are within you. The best way to commune with your ancestors is for you to speak to yourself. Speak to yourself. Khuluma nawe. Because there is a voice, eglalele, there is a voice that is going to answer you. And that voice is you. But not you here, not you now. It is you that has always been here. That is the voice of the ancestors. Am I saying ukushisa impepho is not important? Ukuthela isinefu is not important? Ukulayita amakhandlela is not important? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you need to communicate with your ancestors, do it now. Do it now. Don't wait for impepho. Don't make a religious ceremony out of it. Why then sishisa impepho? Because now we are becoming ritualistic. We are performing a certain ritual now. Impepho, we are attracting ledlozi leli. Maslayita isibane, we are lighting a beacon to say we are here at this point, at this moment. We are offering libations. We are making an exchange of energy because we are actually in ritual. But communing with your ancestors, do it while you walk. Do it anytime. Speak to the wind and expect no answer from the wind. And when you hear nothing from the wind, know that your ancestors have spoken. Let's move on to the next question. Very interesting discussion, especially regarding the Ethiopian church. Wasn't it also an Ethiopian eunuch who got baptized and then went to spread the gospel? However, I would like to know why in all the discussions you have Ethiopian names, yet you are Bantu. Okay. First of all, Emperor Haile Selassie, the king of Ethiopia, once said in a speech that since the eunuch met with Philip and accepted the gospel of Christ, we in Ethiopia have accepted the gospel of Christ. Yes, it's true. There is a story like that. If you want further detail on that story, there is a book called The Kebra-Negast. In that story, there is the story of the merchant. In the Bible, it's called the eunuch from Ethiopia. Now, eunuch, you know, most zip, zip. But his name was Tamrin. The story is detailed in the Kebra-Negast, which is the legend of Ethiopia. So yes, there is that story that Philip met this Ethiopian eunuch, and this Ethiopian eunuch, it's in the book of Acts, I think. Somewhere in the book of Acts, verse 14 or something, chapter 14 or something, somewhere there. But yeah, yes, it's true. And then the Ethiopian church, or the Ethiopians as a nation, trace their Christianity from then. But that has nothing to do with why we carry Ethiopian names. Yes, it's been asked a couple of times. Let me answer it today. My name, as I introduced myself, is Abba, Father, Abba, Father, Padre, Baba, Abba. Ayaleu Amlak. That is Ethiopic, right? Abba, Ayaleu Amlak. Why is it Ethiopic? Because I was initiated in an Ethiopic order of Rastafari called the Melchizedek order. Ethiopic order of Rastafari called Melchizedek order. Right. Because of that initiation, I carry the name Ayaleu Amlak. I was initiated into Egyptian mysteries. Therefore, I carry the name Heru, Sekhem, Ankh, Amun. I was initiated into Jewish mysteries. Therefore, I carry the name Abu Samran. I was initiated into the traditional Sangoma mysteries. Therefore, I carry the name Usilo Samanzi. Now, the name goes with the initiation. It's not an identification. Singaze sithi it's a qualification if you want to be loose about it. But the fact that my name is Ethiopic, it is one of my names that is Ethiopic. It is not the whole compendium of my names that is Ethiopic. I hope now we have that clarity and it makes sense. Our names are Ethiopic because of the initiation, not because of the self-identification. Next question. Hey, that is ningi gelezi. Some deep thinking is needed when it comes to polemics. You are hungry, I give you food. Why do you say tamako? Let's start it there. When you say tamako, what you are saying is to the universe and all involved, nyagubonga. I'm saying thank you. So ukuthi kamaku is not directed to an external force. It is an internal appreciation voiced out. So saying kamaku does not, it should not be confused with saying thank God or thank you Jesus or something like that. No, it shouldn't be confused with that. Ukuthi kamaku is an internal appreciation voiced out to the universe and the individual in that particular case. When somebody gives me food, ndithi kamaku, I'm saying thank you to this person, but also to the universe that governs this person and this moment. The question goes on. You drop a cup and you say, oh, mashezi or mapele. Africans do this because they believe that there are always supernatural forces at play, like their ancestors. Why does Isangoma say makosi when they sneeze? Okay. Africans do not believe in anything supernatural. The word super, let's break it down. Super, above, greater than, further than, out of, super. Natural, nature, right? So Africans don't believe in anything that is out of nature. Africans believe in umenzi, wo wendalo, umdali, nature, mupi, the former, the one who molded everything natural. So our reference of God or anything divine is natural. It is not supernatural. It cannot be supernatural. So when I drop a cup and say mabele, I'm actually calling my own ancestors who exist within me. I am taking accountability of what I am doing together with the people that are working with me. It's not a call to an external force. It's a cry from inside me. Like that Kamaku I said, it's an internal appreciation. Why does Sangoma say makosi when they sneeze? Is as much as the British say bless you when they sneeze, and abanye bathi hate tissue, abanye bathi hate chocolate. It's just nje. There is no doctrinal reason why a Sangoma says makosi when they sneeze. Abanye, they say hate chocolate. If you can ask them maybe why they call chocolate, it's sneezing. Sneezing is sneezing. But there is that thing of Oguti when Isangoma sneezes, it's either a communication is happening, and this is not an all the time thing. Sikumbule, we are humans, sinama sinus. Dust triggers the follicles in the nose, which causes the sneezing. So let's not rosalize yonkinto. Let's not try and find everything spiritual about even the mundane, human, natural things that have to happen. But it does happen. Ifana nokbodla, Marcos. Ifana nokbodla. It's just, it happens. And for some, it happens because maybe a connection, a message is being passed through, a message is being channeled, or a connection is being made. It's not all the time. So ningahambi nikatama izangoma ke mazisneeze anicabanga ukuthi they are getting downloads. Kunomunye omunye bekathiwa sala ekhaya. Every time abanye bababhodla uyabuza ukuthi ithini Wi-Fi uyadownloada. So let's not expect the unexpectable. There's nothing supernatural about Isangoma. Isangoma is a person who is just different from you because they have learned to connect with their inner self more than you have taken the effort to do it. If you could take the same effort, there would be no difference. So, Isangoma abantu. Nginyanga myself, ngithwasile, ngisangoma, ugedla, whatever you want to call it. But ngishilo ke mina ngathi mina ngimejishena ngithi ngumthakathi. Bakwethu, I'm going to take the last question now, and then awungeke kudala ngikhuluma. Nanguthi Putomkulu, what's the difference between idlozi no nkulunkulu? Yeah. The difference between idlozi no nkulunkulu is simple. The word unkulunkulu, ngakhumbula ingoma ubani lo Damian Mali noNazi. Unkulunkulu wakurumakulukulu. Unkulunkulu is Nkulunkulu, umkhulu omkhulu, mukuru, like in many different languages. But what it actually means is umkhulu kamkhulu, my grandfather's grandfather. NgokweSintu, this is how we place ourselves. Mina, I have a father. I call him Baba. His father is called Umkhulu, Utat Umkhulu, Umkhulu. His father is called Ukhokho. His father is called Ukhulu. His father, now, Ubaba, Utat Umkhulu, Ngumkhulu, Ukhokho, Ukhulu. Right? And then uthi nkulunkuluana. And then you get unkulunkulu or umkhulu kamkhulu. Now, if you count from umkhulu kamkhulu, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7 is me. My son calls me Ubaba. His son is going to call me Umkhulu. His son is going to call me Ukhokho. His son is going to call me Ukhulu. His son is going to call me Ukhulwana. His son is going to call me Umkhulu kamkhulu. Therefore, I will become now Umkhulu Omkhulu of the clan. My bloodline. Abazalwa yimi. So now, who is unkulunkulu? Your nkulunkulu can never be my nkulunkulu. Therefore, we cannot say nkulunkulu was Israel. Or nkulunkulu wakubi. Cha owakithi unkulunkulu ula esendeni. Lagiti. Do you understand? Idlozi now, on the other hand, is what? The East. Amahindu, babizani laba, amahindu rabobani, laba bameditatayo laba kakhulu laba, bathi yababona abo hayi laba, ngisho abo hayi abo ama-monks ya, nakho-ke. They say the word is the universal sound. Is the sound that is made by the universe as everything vibrates in life. It's the music of the spheres. Ilo-ke idlozi-ke lelo. Is that sound eyenzwa ugesi mawudlula kwi-power line? Uthi uke wezwa i-danger. Umamela i-danger box. Ithi is that sound of that electricity eyenzayo. Idlozi ugesi, idlozi is energy. Idlozi is an intelligent, creative, universal force that has no name, no shape, no character, no feelings. Idlozi is beyond humanity. It is the energy that exists in all things that makes all things alive. You understand? So idlozi nonkulunkulu nomkhulu nogogo wako are two different things azihlangenanga lezo. Unkulunkulu, yes, uhlangene nabomkhulu nabogogo. Idlozi different. Idlozi, nobody has a patent on it. Nobody has the ownership yedlozi. Idlozi is something that belongs to us all. That which makes us all alive. It's that ngizocela ke ukuyivala ngaloko ke idlozi alibe nathi sonke. Asithini Give thanks.